Can you believe your eyes? Passage 1. In many fields, experts often discuss something called the eyes test. Using the eyes test, one bases opinion on what one sees and feels based on those things rather than on hard satisfaction or facts. In a suggestion that one's perception are better indicators of the why something is that are unempirical tips or evidence. When coached about the basketball player, for instance, they can rely on hard statistics such as field goal percentage, speed, rebound per game, or they can use the ACE test on supervised play ball and see for themselves how good he is. Likewise, when we pick political leader, we can look their voting records, their statement on the uses or other facts about them, but we can also or ask ourselves who looks presidential. This particular explains Warren G. Harding rise to the presidency in 1920. He looked and sounds like a president, so he was inexperienced and not, and actually what would be considered presidential. This last example is crucial in explaining my main point or a really elusible water. See the eyes in the opposite of what one saw be using to objectively assess anything for the eyes in learning more than to manipulate the perception and the power of suggestion. The same rise of light and everyone's eye but different experiences allow people to see different things or to focus on different aspects of the same thing. That is because the eye itself is not the main factor in seeing. Hebron is let me explain. Light reflects off an object and enters your lens, which focuses the light onto the back of your eyes. There are upside down images reflected the routine which contain millions of photoreceptors called root cones. They translate the image into electrical impulse which then can carry it to the brain. The optic nerve is the brain's job. The two may then make sense of the image. However, the brain can only make sense of the image that makes sense do it. That is, if the brain has not seen something before, it may not see it at all. The brain does use its own basis to choose what is important and not important. If you have seen a people before, your brain will likely identify something as a typo. However, it, if there's an object that is only similar a typo and it's something you haven't seen before, since then your brain will likely see of the hardware pointed key or resembles a triple, or similarly you might misclassify species or animals as what I look like. That we pandas are called bears, even though they are actually more similar to raccoons. All of that may sound unimportant, but it proves exactly why we need to evaluate everything using something or other than the eye test. The eye test, they knew no, even when they know might be better, it allows for per use the Trump priorities and goes along with our explains why people so often think that things are certain way used become they've always been a certain way. More simply, the basis favorable the eyes test allow for mistake to precedent and facts. Passage 2. Our musing on wonderful relation the power of perception and prejudice, but we visit them expecting to see art and add up. Accepting the narrative that anything in the museum has been classified as art and is therefore art. All of us have been taught to buy into the notion that everything in the museum is aesthetic, but when you become with this on display, it leads us to decide what is considered good and to consider good what We have been programmed to desire to see, and J. Joyce asked in a portrait of the artisan achievement, is a portrait of the Mona Lisa good is a desire to see it? A better question might be why we have made the Mona Lisa to be a better painting in that, say a watercolor painting. Don't be an amateur artist. Once the letter some personal significance for us, it was painted by a close friend or family member. For instance, or it is a painting or a place that was important to us when we were younger. We will invariably desire to this Mona Lisa, not the amateur watercolor. It all comes down to context. We see the Mona Lisa become sung in the museum. We see another personalism become it does not again in a museum. There is a wonderful display at the Brooklyn Museum that highlights this very point, and silver colored make less like this stainless. Steel object was a common seeing the counter of any delegation in broken in the 1940 and evokes as the experts put this cleanliness, efficiency and modernity. But the museum put this on display to invoke the idea that it can be seen as art. As an art. Indeed, at the museum, the exhibitor refers to it as an abstract piece on streamlined design. It is the same object in two different contexts. In a case, the object is objectively neat looking, but only is one cause. The we perceive its aesthetic value rather than its functional value. Based on how the A test indefinitely in passage 1, which of the following will be an example of the use of the A test? C. Anterior picks on auto run based on a photo of the room on the horror website. According to the passage 1, each of the following is part of the A's except E roads. Come. Which of the following best summarize the main point in passage 1? A. The author refutes the notion that the eye in a good aversion should become science in an objective and can lead to biases. As used in paragraph 1 of passage 2, the word programmed must not remain C. Conditional. In passage 2, the author argues that context is more important than substance in evaluating objects. The middle is used in paragraph 2 as an example of an object that it takes on new meaning in certain contexts. Which of the following best describes the relationship between passage 1 and 2? E. But argued object cannot be determined by seeing alone, but the passage focuses on the different ideas to make that point. But authors do each of the following except C. Use quotations.